Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
And welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. Joining me today, we've got Jenny and Gabriel. We'll start with you, Jenny. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, yeah.
Good.
A lot better from yesterday. No, it was all right. It's just, it gives you a bit of a downer over the weekend, but, 24 hours, back up, ready for the next lot. So,
yeah. We'll come to your thoughts in a mo. And Gabriel, how are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Not about football, generally good, but of course worried about the situation of the club.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll talk about the match, but I was on the way home yesterday, and I was feeling a bit, another defeat, and it just dawned on me that actually, do you know what? It's a long time since we've had this run. I think it's the worst under Matt. I've gone back. I think we had 4 in his first season, and now we've on 5. So it's the worst we've had for a while, but it doesn't make it feel any better. But let's start at the beginning. How did you feel when we saw the lineup, Gabriel? I mean, I got 11 out of 11. I'm just saying. I'm just going to put that out there. But how were you feeling when you saw the lineup?
Well, I was expecting Kobe out. I was expecting to see Pierre in the first 11.
Mm-hmm.
And besides that, Lovat was clear that he will come. And there was this question mark if Kendall will stay in or not. He stayed in. So, yeah pretty predictable.
Yeah, cool. And Jenny,
the only one that I expected not to be in was Kobe Rowe.
Okay, because of obviously the mental side of what happened. Because I did message him because, as I said, I think last week, for that to happen to an opponent is bad enough, but for your own teammate who is one of your mates and you know the family and all the rest of it, that must have been really bad. That he I know his teammates. So if you watch it back, you see a few of the teammates. I think Joe comes to him almost straight away, and it sort of gives him that little bit of encouragement. But yeah, he must be absolutely devastated. Jenny, what were your thoughts at the lineup?
Well, I must admit, the first one I looked at to see if he was back was Will Randall. Purely because when he's out, I think it's very noticeable. I was pleased to see him back in, but then, things didn't go very well. And in fact, I did see him, I think it was coming up to, the second half, he was standing by the tunnel. And he looked very down. So I went up to him, and he was very down because he said it's just a slight recurrence of the problem he had before. And so it was more down, I suspect, about his injury than actually, it's like anything, the run they're on, yes, but I just said to him, which don't know if it helped or not, I said, listen, you'd rather be here than be at Rochdale. And then he said, but they're winning. And I said, yeah, but you still would rather be where we are than at Rochdale. But he was down, but I'm sure they'll pick up. But that's the first one I looked at. When I looked at the rest, it was sort of what I was expecting. But I thought, that's obviously with the injuries, it's not our strongest team, and our bench, no disrespect to anyone, but that's not our strongest bench either. It's because of all the injuries. It was a little bit like sort of last season when we played, say, Swindon, when we had a lot of people out. So
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be a harder match than perhaps, with a full quota in.
Yeah.
It might have been different, but no. But I was pleased to see Will back. And I still think he does make a difference when he does play.
Yeah, it's as expected for me. I'm interested to see Adam get a few games and what happens when others come back in, because strangely, don't think he's ever done anything wrong.
I thought he played well. I thought I think he got man of the match.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's never sort of scored a 60-yard screamer or anything like that. But that's not what he's there to do.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying about the injuries. It is a difficult one. I cling on to this little hope that last season we did really, really well and then tailed off towards the end. So what I'm hoping to happen this time is us to have a little blip now and finish very, very strongly and have no more injuries for the rest of the season, get everyone back, and we'll see how it goes. But we lost 2-0, but I don't think Tranmere played all that. I mean, they scored 2 goals. They did what they had to do. But the penalty was just unlucky because Joe had just moved back into the centre-back spot after losing Pierre, who came on because we lost Louis. I've only seen it back once. I don't know, Gabriel, did you look back at the penalty incident? Was it a tough one? Or?
It's filmed from a pretty bad angle. I had a better angle when I was on the pitch than in the film. The film is from far away and it's also covered by other players. So I've seen it once, but you cannot understand much from it.
I didn't see many players protesting.
No, from the stand, I thought it was a penalty. He got his feet. He was a bit late, just a bit late.
Jenny, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was standing near where you were, and because it's the other end of the pitch, so I looked at the highlights, and obviously not seeing it close up like you would on a television, but looking at it, and I thought, although no one complained when it was given, I've seen some not given for do you know what I mean? People go down near the byline, and it's carry on, so oh gee, because I don't know, I can't honestly think players tackle like they do. I know he just moved to a different position, but tackle like they do, knowing they might give away a penalty. Who knows?
I mean, this is something I kind of I struggle with this thought, because I was thinking a few times Josh had the ball and he was running the defenders ragged, and I'm like, run into the box and go over. I know it's not exactly it's not the best way, but if someone puts that tackle in the box the same as we done, it's a penalty. But he was constantly on the byline, getting to the byline, trying to get it across or cutting it back. But I was just desperate for him to just run in the box and invite the touch.
I have to say though, in some of those, I try not to be unbiased, but there was a time in the first half he did actually get in the box. He lost it genuinely, but there are other times where we were tackled and we got nothing. I found some of the refereeing decisions, quite weird, because we didn't get a lot. Let's put it that way. And I don't know actually if we would have got a penalty. Even from this guy, to be quite honest.
Yeah, had it been reversed. I mean, Gabriel, what did you think about the ref?
Also being on the other side that you are, there was a clear handball, definitely clear handball 1 minute before their goal at a duel between Kendall and his defender at the edge of the area. Probably outside the area, but it was a clear handball.
We got nothing.
Yeah, it was. There were a few. I mean, it's difficult because obviously you're biased because we're watching Sutton, but there were definitely a few that you're sitting there going, "Well, how is that not a foul?"
Yeah, at Topi, two times at Topi in the second
and then
part.
Omar does the same thing, and it's a foul. And it's like, I don't understand it. if it's not a foul, fine, no problem. But it can't be a foul if we do it, or if Omar specifically does it. I think they've all definitely got a little picture of Omar going as soon as he tackles.
It's funny you should say that, because everyone's human, and I just wonder, like we would if you're watching, say, I don't know, Premiership or Match of the Day. I wonder if sometimes the referee's in the back of the match. It's like Craig Eastman, you literally knew the moment he'd, tackled someone first or second time, he was going to get a yellow card. And sometimes if a tackle had gone wrong, I remember Newport, really, he got us red, and I want just sometimes, and a lot of teams know us, we know Easty, and it's like in the back of the referee's mind, I do, I'm sorry, I do think there are players that get a reputation. It's like Robbie Savage, I always think used to get a reputation. And
he deserved it.
Is it? Yeah. But I'm wondering, I always think Craig Eastman, because you could nearly bet your life that he was going to get booked in a match.
Well, on that, we've got to hope that he gets through the Wimbledon match.
Yeah.
Because if he gets another booking, I think between now and some point in January, he's out. Yeah. And we've got no Harry. We've got no Ali. I mean, you could argue, I'm sure, as I've said before, I think Kobe has played in midfield. But then, okay, let's put Kobe in midfield and who goes in defence? I mean, where does it stop? But yeah, so we were eking our way to half time. They had a penalty. They were 1-0 up. I didn't think it was that bad. And then literally the last kick of the game, I think someone timed it and said it was the 5th minute of the 4 added minutes. They wide open from our throw-in. They get the ball in the back of the net, and we've got that mountain to climb. Were you hopeful at this point, Gabriel? Did you expect us to just...
Totally not. I was not confident going to the game, and seeing Randall, I got a little bit more confident, but I wanted to go away then in the 15th minute. When I saw the penalty, I thought, after losing John, after losing Pierre, I thought, okay, it's doomed. It's
well,
no way we can.
Pierre didn't look. I mean, he looked like he wanted to carry on. So we were at the far side, and it definitely looked like he was saying, "No, I want to carry on." So hopefully his isn't too bad. Hopefully it is just a knock, and we're taking precautions.
Yeah.
But we'll obviously see. I don't think there's been an update on his yet, or I didn't hear one if there was. But yeah, so we make it through to half time. We came out a little bit more about us. I thought Charlie actually played quite well. I think probably the best game he's played for us so far. Put himself out about a little bit. Again, just wasn't dropping for him though.
Yeah, he tried to play what Olaofi played last year.
Yeah.
To push, to make pressure on his defender, to act on his speed, because that's what he has as an argument, his speed. He had a good chance before their goal. He had a good pass from Bugil, and he shot wide.
Yeah.
But yes, I think it was his best game so far, and he showed that he has the qualities, but he doesn't have the physicality of Olaofi or Topi in the second half, who thought it's more physical, more of a physical player than him. He's quite fragile. So
yeah, and I think that'll come as he gets a bit more experience. But what were you thinking of him? Had you seen him before, Jenny? I wasn't sure you're at some games.
Did he? I think he came on. He did a little bit at Leyton Orient in the.
He did.
Which
no, I think
No, he played the
whole
game.
He played the whole game.
70 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say I was there. It just seems a long time ago now. And I think looking at him yesterday, and he played. I think it's a case of he needs games. He looks like he could be okay. He just needs games. He needs to play. It's no good in training. Playing with the same people or these little games they have. He looks handy. He looks like he could be okay. I suppose the one I was a little bit disappointed of, because he looked like he was really going to be great, was not being Josh, but then he's young. Because at the start of the season, I thought, wow, this is a good David Alafi. David Ajiboye, sorry, replacement. He was going down, he was fast, he was pushing the ball past people, and he beat them easily to the ball. And I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of confidence he's lost in his ability, or maybe, but he sort of has gone off the boil a bit. But I think that's just...
He possibly needs a rest. I think he's played every game.
That too. But I'm afraid also that the defenders got him a little bit, and what he has, it's this acceleration. And probably they were quite advised about that and know how to stop him better.
So I did say, same as yourself, Jenny, earlier in the season, he's going to be a good player, but his problem is going to be now people know that and they start doubling him up on him and all the rest of it. But it'll be something he learns. He has to learn to deal with.
Well, David Ajiboye had that, didn't he? I mean, he got away with it the first season. No one knew him. Second season, often they used to put 3 players on him, which left gaps. And he couldn't get away with it as much. And I mean, Josh is, he was, he's going to be good. But if they'd done their homework like we do our homework, they're going to know about him and they're going to crowd him. And he hasn't quite got that ability.
Yeah. But to be fair, him coming off the boil has coincided with the whole team going off the boil, so it's not necessarily him.
Definitely.
So then we lost Will as well. Enzio came on, did a really good job at right back, the winger at right back, and then we lost Will to the recurrence of his injury, so we had a little chance to see Luke. And as you said, we then had Kwame and Tope come on. Kwame, I thought he actually, for the short spell he was on, I thought he did probably better than he's played for us a while. He does still have this worry that he just sort of has come on the last couple of games and has put himself about a little bit and just smashing people around a little bit. But he seemed to do better than he has been for us. I know we were 2-0 down and there's nothing really to lose. But it's little tiny shoots. Gabriel, I can see you kind of looking at me funny there. What did you think on that?
No, I said it before. I admire the positivity of the supporters around this club, but and you're actually looked bad if you say negative things. But it's hard to refrain from that. I think we have too many wild cards and no certain valuable player. We were speaking in pre-season about Zbara, about Ephraim Thomas, the guy who went to Peterborough, Ephraim Mason Clark from Barnet, Tomlin. So names, people with experience. Last year we brought in young prospects like Ali Smith, like Kizzy, who's not young but it's still a prospect, and Bennett, but they were all proven at National League level at least, so one level down. And National League, we all know that it's a pretty tough league. But these players, no one has a proven record. They are all wild cards, we all expect they have some talent, of course, but we expect them to improve and to play at AFL level without having the time to fit in with the team, as Jenny said, for Kendall especially, who came 1 month in the season.
So that's the thing with loan players, though. They tend to, the clubs want to have a look at them and decide if they want to send them out on loan or keep them. Same as we've done with ours. So I do know that we were in for a QPR striker, and it was all kind of done and dusted. But unfortunately, he had a great pre-season, and QPR just went, no, thank you. We're keeping hold of him.
It's very, very hard to find a good striker.
Of course, and this is one of the things people are saying about our midfield. Maybe we need to bring in someone who's unattached on a short-term contract. And it's like, hang on a minute. It's October.
I understand that we can still bring a free agent now.
We can, but if they're still free in October, there's going to be a reason for that.
But anyway, I think we need, at least in winter, we need to bring 2-3 players with experience, with some degree of experience. If not at this level, 1 level down, but not 2 level down as Kendall. not in another country which is not very well known for football as Malta is for gambling. And Pierre had the numbers, but he's unfit.
He's unfit. He did look a little bit better yesterday. I mean,
he was promising, but
unfortunately, his fitness let him sprint to make that tackle, which injured him. So maybe if he was a little bit less fit, he wouldn't have got to the tackle and might stay on the pitch. But Jenny,
there's
what
also
did you
Sam
think?
Hart who hasn't played 1 minute officially for the team. I don't know how bad is he, but
that's
a difficult one. I mean, Jenny, have you heard anything about Sam? I know.
No, not at all, because he sort of fell off the radar. I mean, he with his head, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
He was clear, and he literally he came on for 5 minutes when he
Chelsea,
started. He was gone, and they said it had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit worrying if he's got an underlying, I don't know.
Yeah, but he's that's one of the things I kind of was like, that's a bit strange, because our guys are normally Terry and Matt and Jason are really, really strong on the players being available and not being injury prone. Yeah. And I had a look, and he's been available for his last 3 seasons. He's played quite a decent number of games. One season he didn't play so many games, but I think that was more due to selection rather than any injuries. But it's just, again, that terrible luck we seem to be having.
Yeah, I mean, I will interject here in a little thing on something that was Matt Gray. The subject of he asked to see me is something I won't go into, but he came and sat. We had a chat, about a 5-minute chat after the match. He came and sat with me, and we talked about something else that doesn't actually matter on this particular thing. But I said to him, you know, we're going through a bad patch, and I said, you know, you seriously, you're happy, you'll reckon we'd be all right? And he said, we will. You know, and now, okay, it could be, you know, you say, well, he's going to. I found him, I've had to speak to him about something else. And I found him a man of integrity, I have to say. And I actually said to him about something else. Look, don't, you know, I can take it. Be open and be honest with me about something. And he said, I will. He said, if there's one thing, I won't lie to, you know, come and speak to me.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. So people that are, you know, I've read the forums today, and I've read the thing, and I know people are worried, but talking to him about just the match side yesterday, I'll be honest, I have every faith in him that he will turn it. So I said to him, if it doesn't go round, I said, are you leaving? And he went, no. And because if you've got the guy, talk to him. Now, he could be just saying that, but he never strikes me of someone who's gonna. There are other people at the club that I think would waffle. All right, I'm not going to mention names.
Hang on.
No. I haven't. No, they know me. But what I'm saying is, and I was talking to him in quite a serious way, but I just said and I remember when we played Wrexham in the National League, when he first took over, and we weren't winning a thing, right? And he was losing all his matches, but we weren't playing badly. And I'll be honest, I don't think we played badly. I mean, I wasn't at the Salford or Stevenage, okay?
Yeah.
But we're not absolutely awful continually, right? And I said to him yesterday, you know, it's not good, but we're mid-table. Maybe luckily, if you look at the results yesterday, unbelievable. And I said, we'll be all right. I believe. He said, we will be. He said, we will be all right. We'll sort this. And he didn't strike me as a manager who thinks, well, I can do whatever because I know they're not going to sack me. And it strikes me they're in their office for about half an hour, Jason, Mickey, Abel, Steve, discussing things. And I do. But I also think once those guys run over the white line, there's not a lot a manager can do. No. You know, he can tell them what he wants them to do, and you can hear him shouting, asking them to move a position. Yeah. But once those guys get over that white line, psychologically, whatever. He can't do. None of us really can do anything. And I think in the back of their mind, because we've lost these matches now, but for Josh, it's like, I won't take that guy on because actually, no, I don't want to make a mistake in case it leads to them breaking and having a go. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure in their head.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're quite right.
Do you know what I mean?
It gets into their head, absolutely. I mean,
we'd be all right. I take Matt's thing, and I personally think we'd be all right.
Yeah,
I'm with 2 games to go and we're bottom and we got a big gap. I'd honestly say we won't be all right. But I think Matt Gray would say that. I do.
No, I think we're going to be all right because there's going to be several teams worse than us for a start. But Gabriel, I know you're similar to me. You don't get to many of the away games, but the Gillingham game was described by a lot of people as awful. But would you, from what you see, agree that we're in every game, but it's just one of those things? Like yesterday, going away, I don't think Tranmere were that much better than us. Now, all right, they had 2 goals by half time. They didn't have to do much. But I don't remember being better than us other than the 2 goals.
True. I watched the Matt Gray interview post-game, and he said we had a bad week. Remember that we had the podcast with me after the Salford games. We played great with Salford. We were unlucky. We dominated them for 70 minutes until we lost a man. The last 3 games, okay, Gillingham, I only saw the highlights. I saw Stevenage on the iFollow and yesterday, but we haven't created much. On the other hand, we get very, very soft goals. The first goal at Stevenage was absolutely out of nothing. The first goal at Gillingham was a missed offside from John, who retreated. The others went out for offside, and John retreated to cover. I don't know why he did that, to cover for their striker. And then we had yesterday again a soft penalty, and as you said, it was Joe who was just put in that position, his very first intervention. Really, really unlucky. And very few chances, of course, from the opposition too. Even Stevenage, they scored 3, but they didn't create much, at least for 60 minutes. The first 60 minutes. They scored the first 2 out of 2 chances.
If we were converting the same as our opponents were converting, we would definitely be way, way up there, because the few chances we're making, we're not putting aside or putting away. And yet, it seems almost every chance that we get, they're scoring. So what I just want to do is to finish off yesterday, your player of the day posts. So who do you feel is player of the day? So I'll start with you, Gabriel. If you give me one name, and then we'll go to Jenny for another, and we'll come back.
Still Ismond. Call him at every game because he was running like crazy still in the 89th minute of the game.
Excellent.
And, I even thought he has to chill down because the game is gone and we need him for the next 40 games. There's nobody else around there at midfield.
No worries. And Jenny?
Who did he say? Sorry?
He said Craig.
Oh, right. Oh, I've got to easily Adam Lovett. I thought
Adam?
I thought Adam was for the pressure, and also the fact that he hasn't, played a lot, since he's been away, called back. And I thought for that he did really well considering what he was
doing. My second nomination would have been Adam as well. I think he's shown good stuff.
So have you got another one then? 2 more.
Okay, I would put Kendall as an encouragement. And I was also impressed with Toppy's fighting and his energy, and he deserved to add 2 good free kicks. So
pick one of those 2.
Edge of the area,
So you need to pick one of those 2.
Hard one. Who would you pick from those?
I wrote down Charlie earlier.
Okay.
Okay, and then Jenny, one more from you.
Oh wow. I mean, it's difficult. Do you know though? I always think, I don't know. Rob Milsom always plays a solid game.
Mm-hmm.
His crosses can be a bit wayward, but I just think he's solid. He tries his hardest, and I think I'd go for Rob, to be quite
Excellent. Honest. Okay, well, I will put those 4 names out to the vote. The only other name I wrote down actually was Enzio, because I thought he came on and he did sterling effort at right back. But no, we will do Easty, Adam, Charlie, and Rob, and I'll include them in a little bit. Earlier on, you guys are going to have to listen to the show to hear it, but I did catch up with Ray, who's a Wimbledon fan, and had a good little chat with him. But very quickly, before we kind of run out of time, what are our thoughts and hopes next week at Wimbledon? So, Gabriel, obviously, we'll start with you. You kind of don't know anything about that. They're not quite rivals because, as Ray pointed out, we've played each other about 50 times in 50 years because we just don't meet in competitions. But what are your hopes for next week?
Well, it's a very important game, and they are having a quite bad spell themselves. Mm-hmm. They had a win between something like 7 or 8 bad games. And I follow them on Twitter, and I read from a fan of Wimbledon. It's just a quarter of the season gone, and we're already looking down at the 2 bottom teams if they have lost or not.
Yeah. So I think that was actually Ray who said that.
One of our guys?
No, I think it was Ray, the guy who I got on the show.
Okay.
So I think that was him that said that. And Jenny, what are your thoughts ahead of the weekend?
Well, I actually watched Wimbledon 2 weeks ago when they played at Bradford, and watching them, they grew into that match because Bradford scored very early on, and once Bradford did score early on, they didn't look a particular threat. It would be nice if we could sneak an early goal, or if we could sneak a goal, I'd be hopeful. But as they grew into the game, they ended up, as I said, it was a draw that match, but they ended up being 2-1 up with a few minutes to go in added time. I mean, I'd say I'd take a draw, but who knows? It's going to be a big crowd. And I always think, Sutton, when I go to away matches and there's a lot of support, and there will be for us next week, it can lift the players. We've got to be the 12th woman next week. And I'm always hopeful. I'll say we'll win by a small margin. I'm ever hopeful. I'm a glass half full, but I'll take a draw. But we can beat them. From what I saw, we can beat Wimbledon.
Excellent.
We should put pressure on our friend Nick Tsanev, who is quite prone to making mistakes under pressure. From what I saw.
Well, I'm hoping it's not gonna be a game that lives up to its billing, because we did mention when I spoke to Ray earlier that it's one of those games that you turn up to in the 85th minute because there's nothing that's going to happen for 85 minutes, and it'll all get packed into the last few minutes and stoppage time, because they've conceded loads of goals in stoppage time as well this season, apparently. Oh. So, yay, it's going to be very exciting. Thank you both for your time. We'll wrap it all up there, and I'll let you know, obviously, when it gets sent out, which will be a little while. But perfect. I'll see you both on Saturday at Wimbledon.
Can I just say quickly, I think it's today the anniversary of when we played Port Vale last season.
It is.
And we know what happened then. So come on, onwards and upwards. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Excellent. Lovely. Thanks a lot. See you later, guys.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to Sutton United Talk Time on podcast, the Sutton Podcast. If you are new to the show, hello, and you are very welcome. Hope you enjoy what we do. It's a very simple format. We get a few people on to talk about the game that's just gone, and then we preview the next game coming up. We are available on most podcast platforms where you can listen, rate and review. If you find that we're not on your preferred platform, please let me know and I'll sort that for you. If anyone would like to support the podcast, you can find out how with more information on the website, which is www.suttonpodcast.com, and there's a tab where you can find out how to be a guest as well. Please find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok with the username @SuttonPodcast. Every like, follow and share is really appreciated. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Hello, and I'm delighted to welcome now Ray Armfield, a AFC Wimbledon supporter of, well, a few years, really. How are you, Ray?
Fine, thanks, Mike. Next weekend it'll be 51 years.
51
Which
years,
is scary,
excellent.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I worked mine out because obviously I do this, and every now and then I get a thing of what gives me the right to talk about things, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's about 35 years I've been supporting them, so
That's good.
it's not a bad innings, I suppose.
Yeah.
But the trouble is I surround myself with people who've been 50, 60, 70 years and so on, so I always feel like a newbie.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do, if you don't mind, is we're just going to have a little chance for you to introduce yourself, sort of what you do and why you supported Wimbledon and so on. Essentially, it's who are you?
Hello there, my name's Ray Armfield. I'm a AFC Wimbledon fan now, but a Wimbledon fan since 1971. Why there? Basically, a mate took me along, and my football knowledge at 9 was football is either what you saw on Match of the Day or 22 fat blokes running around Clapham Common. So Wimbledon was somewhere in the middle. Not as high as I thought it would be, but I was hooked, and here I am. What do I do now? A couple of hats at the club. I've been a contributor to the Matchday programme for 20 years, pretty much since it started. And just recently I've started doing stadium tours at Plough Lane, which is lots of fun.
Excellent. So 71 non-league still at that
Very
stage,
non-league,
wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah. Yes. What was it? Got to the Football League?
77.
77.
First time around, anyway. Yeah.
That's quite... So yeah, my first, I've come from North London, and when we moved over here, my first sort of knowledge of Wimbledon was a few people at my school in Mitcham had sort of started supporting them, and I think that was 85, 86, maybe even further back than that. And is that where you started climbing through the leagues, or?
Yeah, I think that was our first season in the top flight. So
yeah, so
that's good. Yeah,
it must have been where that had just happened while people were talking about it when we just moved over here. So you obviously have been through all those fun times and then all the very difficult times. Lots of comments, lots of opinion. I've got some of my own, but I'm not going to bother with them. How was the sort of? How was it from inside with the whole club thing where Sam Mann was going to move you to Dublin at one stage and all sorts of other...
He's a funny bloke. I mean, 1997, I think maybe we took our eyes off the ball, off the pitch, because on the pitch we got to the semis of both domestic cups, and then the Dublin Dons thing reared its head, and it was a serious goer. There were some people willing to put lots of money in there. I think the U2 manager Paul McGuinness was involved, and one or two others, but luckily us, the League of Ireland, and even the FA, when you could trust them, said no. So that was that squashed. But of course, 2 years later, the Buckinghamshire thing arose.
So I mean, I remember his thing at the time, which I thought was mad, and I was quite sort of young, naive back then. But is I could afford to fly every single supporter to Dublin and home again, and still make a huge profit. And I was like, right, this is weird. But yeah, from I'm a Kilburn boy, and from the Irish side, it was like, this is never gonna fly, because a lot of the Irish supporters would not have wanted it. So I think it's about 4 clubs in Dublin. It's quite a small town, but or city. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah,
it's 4 clubs, so they would have really struggled.
Yeah,
but obviously it happened, and the feelings were obviously really, really strong. I did read recently one story of an MK Dons fan who was a Wimbledon fan, who said he used to have to, for years, he left home in just his jacket pulled up and got on the train and just wouldn't have any MK Dons stuff at all on show.
Good.
Obviously, passing of years, and things have worked out. I mean, you could say, in one respect, better for you guys, because the club was starting to fall apart from my vague memory. You were at the time, weren't you?
What does great on me recently is when I hear sort of fans of so-called big clubs say, "Oh, if things just go wrong at ours, we'll just do an AFC Wimbledon." like it's easy. Well, it's not easy. It may look like it from the outside when you see, 6 promotions in 9 years and then getting your own stadium, but it's been hard work every step of the way. So I always don't recommend it unless it's a very last resort.
So obviously, you did reform. We were part of that historical moment where the first game at our place. Since that first game, I think the scene was set. I think you've only beaten us in the Surrey Senior Cup.
Yes.
So yeah, obviously we had the season we got relegated as you got promoted. So we kind of missed you. There was, well, certainly on this show, some thought that we could get promoted whilst you lot got relegated last season and we did the same thing. And I was like, ooh, how fun would that be? It didn't happen. But yeah, so last season, again, I only see from afar. I'm a Sutton supporter and I'm very blinkered. So last season was obviously a struggle. Is that the first real sort of struggle season you guys have had? I know things haven't always been shiny and rosy, but a really bad season, or has there been others?
Absolutely not. I was just saying on a tour yesterday, I think in the, 11 and a half seasons that we've been a Football League club, we've really struggled in 11 of them. All we've really had is just a golden 6-month period that got us up into League One. But the rest of the time, it's been bottom half, dodging relegation. Very, very closely once or twice, and then finally plunging last season. But it was still entirely avoidable, but painful nonetheless. So,
yeah, I mean that one obviously was a bit more interesting to us because of our situation as well. And yeah, the run was just absolutely appalling. It was it was like the old joke of looking at your watch and go, see, Wimbledon's lost again, and it's how do you know it's 5 o'clock? It was just really, really shocking, and to have it run parallel with we were doing really well last season. So what was that like? Did you guys know from sort of Christmas time that that's it, we're gone?
I think we had a sense it might be happening, but even up to the last 3 or 4 games, it was almost still in our own hands, and we thought surely not. But it was very difficult. We started really well. We knew we had a young team. We knew it was going to be a tough league anyway. But just the last sort of 5 or 6 months of the season, 26 games without a win is just destroying soul-wise.
Yeah.
I think up until the Colchester win a couple of weeks ago, I hadn't seen us win at home for a year on a Saturday. I managed to miss the Gillingham game, and it was crazy. I sat there at the end and I thought, oh, what do we do now? What's up here?
I don't want to sort of rub anything in, but we've had the opposite for about 12 years. So we were Ryman Conference South, a good few years, National League Conference. We'd one season, I think we were 17th, which was a season. But we constant success for all those years. And yes, we've had a few ropey ones now. I think it's 4 league games, 5 games in total in a row where we've lost, including 2 at home. And as I was walking away from the ground yesterday, I was like, actually, do you know what? It's been a long time since we felt like this. There's no right to be really up. You got no right to do it because it's been such a long time. But yeah, I see the complete opposite from you guys, where it's like, oh, what do we do now? When the tickets for the match went on sale, we were all over them. We're like, that's it, lovely. Wimbledon haven't won at home for ages. We're gonna do this, that, and the other. And ever since we've sold out, we've not been doing so well. And you guys, the last couple of games, you've picked up a little bit, have you? Or
up until Saturday, we'd won and drawn the last 2. But if you look at it in a broader sense, we've still lost 6 out of the last 9. So we're in no particular good form either. So one thing I have noticed is even going back to last season, we had like a propensity for letting in goals in stoppage time. I've noticed that you guys do it now as well. So I did say to people in Saturday's programme, whatever you do not leave early.
Yeah.
So,
turn up on the 85th minute, maybe.
That's it,
see something interesting. So for the games we have had over the years, Surrey Senior Cup isn't on the highest on anyone's list. I know the Pizza Cup isn't also highest on anyone's list. That was an odd one for us because obviously we've picked up a lot of new fans, and again they just don't know certain things that they're new to the club. They were giving the opposition goalkeeper a bit of stick, and we're like, hang on, no, you can't give him a bit of stick. That's Nick. No, leave him alone. He might be there, but he's one of ours, really. Even though he's one of theirs, he's one of ours. But how has he been? I can see every now and then people give him a bit of grief. He's a good lad. He don't hide.
That's true. Yeah, I think like most keepers, he's a good shot stopper. But once or twice, he does seem to have a little mind thing where he has a walkabout, and it always seems to cost us. I mean, you see that with outfield players; they can make a mistake and get away with it. But keepers can't generally. No, and he has been caught out with a couple of howlers. But having said that, recently he's done okay. So I think he's a good League Two keeper. Beyond that, I'm not sure. But every game he plays, and he's played a few now, he gets that bit more inside him, hopefully. But it was funny what you were saying about crowds, because also ours have gone up as well with the new stadium. And even though we did have that run of 26 games without a win, our crowds this year have gone up 74%. Wow. which is mad. I mean, we're currently the fourth highest home crowd in League Two, which I wouldn't have put money on a few years ago. No. But there we are.
I suppose that's going to be a lot of supporters who haven't been over the years, kind of re-getting the bug, going, oh yeah, I'm back at Plough Lane. Yes, I'm having some of this.
There is some of that, because we literally have been away for a generation. So
the other obviously big games between us were the FA Cup games from a few years ago, and one of my friends is a Wimbledon supporter, and he was giving us all sorts of grief about the Magic 3G pitch and how awful it was and how much it was an advantage, and then I was very surprised to turn up at the Farmers Field at Kings Meadow. It's like, how dare you criticise our pitch? But how was that? That was obviously must be quite difficult for you, and it's a strange rivalry as such, in that we've never really played each other.
No.
Yeah, so we're really close, but we're not exactly rivals.
I tried to do some research on past meetings, and I think Saturday's only our 50th meeting competitively, going back to 1901. And you think for clubs that are 5 to 6 miles apart, it's mad, really, isn't it?
Yeah, one of them was the Amateur Cup final in 63, which I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, right.
Okay. We'll skip that. That doesn't suit my needs at all.
It may get mentioned on Saturday. I don't know.
I'm sure it will. But yeah, so how the FA Cup, was that at the time a surprise to you guys to lose to us, or were you fully expecting to roll us over? Or
yes and no, because you mentioned the sort of pitch in the build up to that game, and manager then Neil Ardley seemed very, I won't say scared of it, but very apprehensive. And I thought, that's not really the mindset you should be going into the cup game with. Yeah. And then when we got a draw there, he seemed visibly relieved. And of course, the draw for the next round was made, and Leeds came out, and we both got history with Leeds as well. Yeah. And I think a few of us thought, oh, great, that's some programme pages ready to be written. And then when we went 1-0 up, my mind was already writing them. And of course, that red card did change the game totally. But I have to say, and most Wimbledon fans will say after that, you deserve to win on the night. And,
for me, and I bore Sutton fans were saying it, because a lot of them don't agree with me, there was obviously the red card changed things, but I think it was shortly after the red card. Craig Eastman did a tackle on one of your players.
Taylor. Yes.
Yeah, and he got a lot of stick, and it was like, that was a good tackle. And we were convinced at the time it was a good tackle, but what that did is, because you guys gave him a lot of stick, that then woke us all up, and we were like, no, we're not having this. And then suddenly I felt us really get behind the team, and it just lifted everyone. And then, luckily, when it was replayed back on YouTube, looking back, and no, it really was a good tackle. It really was. It was unfortunate, obviously, for the player, but it was a really good tackle.
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a big moment for us. It was sort of standing there at Kingsmeadow going, I don't know what to do now. I'm stuck because I missed all those years ago the Coventry match because I'd only just started supporting Sutton, and I felt it wasn't right to try and get a ticket. And I was 14 and very naive, and I was like, there'll be other big games, it's fine. And it was 30 years I waited to get the next big game. So any kids listening, grab the tickets when you can.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
How do you see? Yeah, how do you see Saturday's game going?
I'm not sure. I've also read, apart from your run of form away from home, which I think may not be a massive factor with it being a local derby and a cup tie, probably. I've seen you've had a few injuries as well, and we've had a couple, but we've got a couple coming back now. So I think at least we have a bit of choice in the squad now, which we maybe haven't had in recent weeks. But our manager seems wedded to 3-5-2 almost, and I'm not really sure that we've got the players to sort of fit those positions half the time. So I don't know whether he's going to make any changes, but there were rumbles when we went 1-0 down the last home game, and I think unlike maybe the last four managers, Johnny Jackson's got no past connections with the club, so I think patience levels are a bit lower, particularly on the back of last season, because nobody wants a repeat of that. So I'd say maybe if you want to sort of have a factor on your side on Saturday, take an early lead and maybe hope the crowd turns. I mean, we're a patient lot, but everybody has their limits.
Everyone, yeah. Well, yeah. I watched the highlights on ITV this morning, and they obviously show the goals from Saturday. But what they didn't show is that the penalty that we gave away was literally just after we had to replace the centre back who had just come on to replace the centre back. And so we lost two centre backs in the first 20 minutes, and we had a right back playing at centre back who gave away a penalty. So yeah, our formation is quite a rigid 4-4-2, but it may have to change depending on who's available. And at the moment, it's probably going to be like a 3-2-5 because we've got loads of forwards. None of them are scoring. Not one of them. None of them are scoring regularly, but we've got enough of them. So yeah, it should be. It'll be. I reckon it won't be a dull game. Might not have many goals, but I reckon it'll be a bit of an old school blood and thunder.
It'd be nice, wouldn't
it?
One thing you will notice is the quality of the pitch at Plough Lane now. It's very good. Even though it's got like a rugby league team who've played a summer season on it, and our ladies team play on it, it does look very good. It is a proper carpet now, so we shouldn't have any moans and groans there.
No, wonderful. And before we do move on to the most important question of the day, is a big shout out for is it 8-page spread we have in your program that you've put together?
Yeah. Normally I get to do the bits on the away team. Usually it's things like a past match, players who played for both times, the usual stuff, and I've done all that, and somebody said, because it's Sutton and it's a big game, do something on past meetings. So I thought, well, yeah, it's not been done since 1964, so let's do it. So we've done it. So hopefully there might be one or two pictures you might not have seen previously, or may not want to see again. I don't know.
And on the list of players, obviously, Efan is up there.
I try to keep it to sort of players of recent years. So, so you might be able to guess some of those. I've started recently and worked backwards, so I didn't quite get as far as Efan, but I know there's a lot of them.
He was a player as well, wasn't he?
He was a player.
The story is he just rocked up at an open trial session with his boots and said, "Can I have a go?" And we're like, "Yeah, go on, then make up." We like you. So one day that will happen again, I hope. But yes, the most important question, and I have prepped you a little bit for this. So look on in shock and horror at the wonderful pub of the week. That was me singing. Can you believe that? So, where is the best place for Sutton fans to grab a drink or 6 before the match?
Where can we send you? Right. With it being the EFL and the big boys league now, we have to have designated pubs for away fans, and the best way to come into the ground or towards the ground is to get the train to Earlsfield Station, and then simply walk up Garrett Lane, and your away entrances are on the right hand side. But there's 2 pubs literally you could fall out the entrance into them by the train station. One is the Halfway House, and one is called the Earlsfield.
Excellent.
The Halfway House seems busier and better from what I see, but I do need to warn people about Earlsfield Village pub prices. There are no Weatherspoons around there. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Bring your wallets.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, we do get that every now and then when they go up north, and they're like, "I'm sorry, I think they've given me the wrong amount of change because I seem to have lost after this round. What's happened here?"
You won't get that here.
Go to a London club, it's like, "Oh God, that hurt." I guess everyone's doing that to us as well. Lovely. Thank you so much, Ray. It's been wonderful to talk to you. Take care, and we might see you around on Saturday.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
And that about wraps up for another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thank you to my guests, Jenny, Gabriel, and Ray, for their time. It was really, really appreciated. Oh, for fuck's sake. And that's it for another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. Thank you to all my guests, to Jenny, to Gabriel, and to Ray. Your time is really appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Give me a shout on any of the social medias at Sutton Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. A couple of quick points to make. Brilliantly, Dave did his run, and he did really well for his running a mile every hour for 24 hours. And he got to his target, and I think he exceeded, or very close to his target, sorry. So he's got 19.18.75p, so he only needs like 80 odd quid to go to reach his target. So if by the time you listen to this you haven't donated yet, please do so. He would surely appreciate it. The link is obviously on my Twitter feed if you need to look for it, or give me a shout out and I'll send that to you as well. Quick mention to the ladies team, really tough game today. Listening to Ahmed, really strong side we were played against, and we unfortunately lost 6-1 away to Fleet. Massive step up this league. I'm not sure anyone really realised how big the step up from the division below to this one really was. We were smashing teams by scorelines like that ourselves last year, and now we're getting on the wrong end of them. Home again next week, so hopefully we'll get a big crowd down to support and basically give them their support next week. Home to Dartford at Gander Green Lane. I believe it's a 2 o'clock kickoff, but I'm sure that'll be confirmed. Please, hopefully, see you down there. Definitely, Rosie has to come to get some good luck. But that's it. Thanks a lot, and take care. Bye bye.